What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have what happened to this American in 7 years in Indian family. Before we dive into the video, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up. And if you'd like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's dive in.
I think they also thought that Americans don't care about their family members at all, because here family is so important. Their biggest conception was, how could you want to move away from your parents? Like, don't you love them?
Meet Tyler, an American who moved to Mumbai from a small US town and has been in India for 10 years. He shared how he ended up living with an Indian family, why Indians never say no, and how his American values shifted after living in Mumbai. I'm Max, an entrepreneur and YouTuber from Singapore. Let's go!
Do you remember your first impressions when you first come to Mumbai?
I remember thinking, where did I get myself into? Because it was completely different from where I'm from a small town in the States, around 1,200 people. And I remember the first thing thinking was that the amount of people I saw on the streets right away was the amount of people that live in my town. I was scared. I remember, in fact, buying a book that was, it was called Culture Shock, and reading it, and I think that actually scared me more. Then once I got here and I realized that actually it's a very manageable country, manageable city, it opened my eyes to a lot of different things.
What was the most shocking part?
Probably the traffic. Getting from point A to point B, because I'm sure, as you've seen, that walking here is quite the challenge because there's sidewalks, but they're not very used that often, and you have to really be careful where you're going because you could have vehicles coming at you, you have kids playing cricket on the streets, you have barbers set up, you have vegetable markets, and then all of that can happen, and then traffic stops because a cow can walk by, so there's a lot happening. So you're constantly on gear.
What's the traffic?
You always got to be aware of your surroundings, what's going on. You got traffic coming at you, the vehicles, the markets, the vendors, the barbers, every so he's saying you got to keep your head on the swivel at all times to make sure you don't end up in getting hit by nothing. But yeah, I've heard that in multiple videos about the traffic in India, and they just follow the flow. It seemed like there's not really any rules. Everybody just kind of follow the flow of traffic.
Or better 10 years ago?
I say it's about the same. I think right now it's particularly bad because there's a lot of construction happening in the city, so that's delaying a lot of things. But for me, I think that the traffic's been the same since I've arrived.
I guess there's a big difference in mentality of Americans from the place where you're from and Indians. What's the biggest difference how people think?
I would say a small one, but I notice a lot, is when you go around here, sometimes people are afraid to say what they actually mean. And so that can slow things down. So if you go somewhere, and if you go to a restaurant or if you go to a store, and if they can't provide a service with you, sometimes rather than being a little bit more direct, they're going to maybe say they can do something and actually they can't. So they're trying to get away or to circumlocate the issue.
If I say yes, how I say yes?
Yes.
Okay, this yes. How is I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
So there is the face, same gesture?
Same gesture, but with the eye, with a little bit with the face.
No?
No would be no.
Like that?
Yeah, like a normal no. But they're not going to say no straight up. Even sometimes you'll go to a restaurant and you'll get a menu and you'll order something and they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry, sir, that's actually not here today. Then you go to the next menu, or the next item, and say, oh, we don't have that either. So then rather than just, going through and saying what they don't have, they'll wait for you to go through the entire list before they say, actually, this is what we only have. It's just a bit of being indirect.
Why
I
people
would be so upset if I went through an entire list and I said, actually, we only got this. You could have told me that from the beginning.
not very direct?
I think it's because they don't want you to feel bad and they don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I think that's what it is, part of the reason. And they feel that they should be providing a service, or they should be, if you're expecting something from them, that they want to be able to accomplish that. So when they can't, they feel bad about it. Different thing I would say is the perception of family. I find that compared to where I'm from, family is so important here. People put family first above everything. I think that you can see that when you look at the households, and it's like very much a joint family. So you'd have different generations living together, and it's an expectation that you stay at the home. Whereas in the States, by the time you reach 18, it's expected that you're out, you're independent, you're doing your own thing. Whereas here, you want to be dependent of your family family members, and you want to stick together and help each other out. So that's a big difference I've seen as well.
Which one you prefer personally?
Now I prefer the Indian style, and I like being dependent on others. I like that feeling of
I feel
a
that.
whole family together, helping each other out. I know at first when I came, it was my first time getting a job, it was my first time living by myself. I thought that was going to be a great experience. But then I found out, after about a year or so, that it's not easy to live by yourself.
No.
I have quite a unique story because I met a really good friend, and he could see that maybe I wasn't meant to be staying by myself, so he actually invited me to come live with his family. So I lived with the Indian family for about 7 years and really formed a super close relationship. And to this day, they consider me their family. I finally felt that, okay, I think I'm ready to get my own place. So I found my own apartment, but it's right below the family's. So I still have dinner with them every night. I celebrate with them. We travel together. It's really impacted how I view and how I see India.
That's so interesting and very unique. Like, he had a friend, like, not that he started dating or got married to an Indian woman and moved in with the family, but he had a friend who was like, "Yeah, come live with my family." Like, that's so amazing of that Indian family to just take him in open arms and treat him like family. Now he's a part of the family. He got his own place, but it's right below the families, and it's he still travels. He still eat dinner there every night. He still, but yeah, that is two completely different mentalities, two different cultures, and like you said, in India, you got multiple generations under one roof, and everybody helps to take care of each other, and everybody depends on each other, and I do love that. And here in America, you got the mindset of, like you said, when you're 18, like it's time for you to step out on your own. And that's kind of how I was raised. Like my dad, like let us know, like yeah. I mean, and we could have stayed. My sister stayed for some years after 18, so it wasn't like he kicked us out, but it was just like it's time for you to kind of step out and like be your own man. And if you're gonna live under my roof, you still have to live under my rules. And so by the time you hit 18, you want to do your own thing. You want to live by your own rules. I don't have to do whatever his rules are. And so I did move out, and I enjoy living by myself for a long time. Now I have a family, and I love that so much more. My wife and son are like everything to me. So, but yeah, when I was by myself, it wasn't. I didn't ever feel like I need like my family like right here around me. But that's a different culture, and I absolutely love both cultures. They're just different.
So unique.
Yeah.
When you stayed with the family, how many people were there?
I think at one point we were 5 of us living in a 2-bedroom apartment. So we were very close-knit together. One of the family members got married, so she moved away, so there was less of us, but yeah, quite a big family.
What was the
That's
attitude
awesome.
towards you as an American from this
That's
Indian
a good
family
question.
in the beginning?
In the beginning, I would think at first they were a bit skeptical as to what I was doing here because they had these big ideas of what it meant to be from the States, and they just couldn't wrap their head around that I was choosing to live here because if they were given an opportunity, they would do the opposite. But then they realized how much I love the country, how much I liked it here, how much I meant to be here. So that started to change. One thing that changed was we started to understand how each other think, because at first, even though language wasn't an issue, we'd speak to each other in English. Sometimes we didn't understand what each other meant just because of some of the culture differences or the way we viewed things was so different. So that we got to learn from each other very quickly.
Any example of this like miscommunication?
For example, celebrating a birthday here is a custom that when you cut the cake, whoever's birthday it is goes around and feeds everyone, a little bit of piece of cake. But I didn't have that growing up. So
and in the US it would be...
You would cut the cake and then you'd serve it, on a plate.
Yeah.
But here you actually take it in your hand and serve in everyone's mouths.
In the mouth. Okay.
Yeah, and like they directly serve you. And then they take that same piece and then they feed the person next to them. So at first I didn't know what was going on. I thought, okay, what's happening here? But it was just part of the birthday celebration.
Did you have any like misconception about America or Americans?
That's very interesting. I've never heard that. Like all the videos I've reacted to about India, that's the first time I've heard that. But yeah, taking the cake, hey, everybody take a bite of the piece. Like you serve everybody around you. I love that.
They thought that, that was a dream for most people, is to go to the States, and why would you want to leave? When in reality, that's not the truth. I think they also thought that Americans don't care about their family members at all, because here, like I said earlier, here family is so important. Their biggest conception was, how could you want to move away from your parents? Like, don't you love them? By you leaving, doesn't that show that you don't care for them? Because now they have to look after themselves, especially as they're growing older. And so I constantly have to remind them that I still love my parents, and me moving away has nothing to say of our relationship, but it's just a different family dynamic.
I feel like I do understand that in the sense of, I feel like thinking about like my dad growing older, and I mean, he has other kids, and all the other kids are still in the same hometown as him. I moved states, and so I'm not around him. But thinking about him as he gets older, and he's probably going to start. I mean, now I'm talking about like a decade, 2 decades. He's going to start needing help, and someone to look out for him. It does make me feel bad that like I'm not right there to help take care of him. So like I get that what the Indian parents are saying, like, but like, love my family to death, love every single one of them to death, would do anything for them, but just different culture. We it seems like everybody done started their own families now, and now you got your own family to watch out for, and it's
So you grew
I
up
don't know
in
how to
this small
explain it.
town in Iowa. What's the biggest differences of lifestyle there and here?
I would say, first off, the noise. There, you constantly have noise coming at you from every angle, whether it be from the streets or music from a wedding that's playing across the yard. And that's something I notice when I go back, is how much noise there is here, because I'll be sitting down with my family back in the States and it's quiet. I think that it's too quiet. I need to put some type of noise on in the background. Here, fortunately, and you can get a lot of things taken care of for you, because there's such cheap labor and things are so much more economical that you can have everything delivered to your door. I mean, just with the app, you can have someone come and they can, repair something in your house. They can give you a massage. They can give you a haircut. So everything is so much more
Dang,
accessible. Whereas in the States,
really?
or at least in my town, you have to do everything yourself.
Is
Fact.
there anything that
Fact.
US can learn from India?
I think a lot. I think India does an amazing job of being really resourceful. I think that's something that I learned.
I agree with that.
I felt in the States, and I think back now, I was so wasteful of what I had. A lot of stuff that I got was use and throw, and I didn't think about it, and it would just go in the bin. Whereas I find here, if you have something, you're going to make sure that you use it until you can't use it anymore. And then you're going to make sure, okay, if you can't use it anymore, you're going to take it to someone, get it fixed so you can use it. That's something I really respect, and I really try to do more of. Like, even if I have, old clothes that have some rips in it, rather than saying, okay, that's done, I'm going to try to take it to a tailor or get it sewn or something like that. Or same with my household appliances. Whereas in the States, I think, okay, it's done. It's going to cost more just to get it repaired than to buy a new one.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you are going to find someone to repair it and make sure you have it as long as you possibly can.
How Mumbaikars
I really rock with that, and I love the fact that everything's so accessible, and you can use the app and have anything and everything at your doorstep. Get a haircut, get things repaired, whatever you need. You can just do, and they're coming. I do completely agree with India being really resourceful, even when you're taking a bigger example such as the Indian space program compared to NASA. The Indian space program figured out how to get to space at a fraction of the cost, cheaper than even the set of a movie of America going to space. India actually got to space cheaper than what it cost that movie to make that movie of America going to space. So India is extremely resourceful in getting things done and keeping things. I see now.
different from, let's say, people from Delhi?
I don't have that much experience in Delhi, but the times that I've been there, you have to be a little bit more on guard, because when people see you there, they see you more as a tourist. And I found that sometimes I've been taken advantage of more often in Delhi than I have here. Whereas I think that here, the people, when they see me, they assume that I'm living here. And so they don't try to, I've never feel like I've been cheated that often in Mumbai, and they've really geared me. And when I've been lost, they've taken me and gone out of their way to show me where I need to go. And so I've always felt, very safe and secure here. Whereas in Delhi, maybe it's just it's a new surrounding, wasn't that same hospitality feel, I would say.
It's strange, but I feel quite safe here.
Yeah, very
Maybe because
much.
I don't know, I'm a big guy, but I was like walking around at night yesterday and the day before, trying to feel the place. I don't see the aggression on the street.
No, there's no aggression.
Yeah.
And if there is, it's, short-lived. If you have two cars who have a little bit of road rage, they're going to be yelling at each other, but then 2 minutes later, they're going to be fine. Nothing big happens. I've never had, touch wood, I've never had anything bad happen to me here because it is a very safe place. Traveling alone, late at night. And I've had a lot of really good experiences where actually you can see the kindness in people. So sometimes, when you're riding a rickshaw, you might forget something. Like one time I remember I left my wallet in the rickshaw. Anywhere else, like in the States, that would be gone, right? You might not get your wallet back. But actually this rickshaw driver, he remembered where I stayed, came back, gave it to the watchman, and the next day I had my wallet. That's something I'll never forget.
Any crazy stories or memorable stories?
That is going above and beyond and going out of your way to get someone their wallet back. And I love that, bro.
You can recall?
My first year, my friend and I were eating at a restaurant, and we didn't know Hindi at that time. So we were just communicating to the cook about how much we liked the bread. And he got so excited, started, it felt like he was yelling at us in Hindi, and he pulled us out of our chairs, brought us back to the kitchen. So I thought, okay, fine, he just wants to show us how they're making the bread. And actually, he started to force us to make it with the cooks. So that was like, so unexpected. And it was a great experience.
That is cool.
Something different.
What's your favorite Indian food?
I love biryani. Biryani, and I would say shami kebabs are some of my favorites, and rajma masala.
In Mumbai, anything special that everyone should try?
So I think the most typical is vada pav, which is this fried potato. It's kind of like, they call it the Bombay burger because it's like a fried potato between two buns. That's a must. And I think pani puri. You can't miss pani puri. It's an experience.
Tell me about like Bollywood movies and like Bollywood dance. I know you practice.
Yeah, I love Bollywood dance.
Okay, tell me how you found this love of Bollywood dance.
Probably within my first year. My friends, they wanted to take me to a Bollywood movie. I'd never seen one before. And even though it was completely in Hindi, they said, with all the dancing and we'll help you figure it out. So I went for my first Bollywood movie and immediately I was attracted to the music. And I was like, I need to listen to more of this. I quickly asked my friends for all of their recommended songs and fell in love with the music. And one thing that's kind of different is I really fell in love with old Bollywood music, like music from the 70s or 80s. And there was one dancer in particular, her name's Helen, and she has some amazing dance moves. So I would just put that on YouTube and try to copy her moves. And that's, I think, where my love happened for Bollywood, was through Helen and my friends giving me all of their playlists.
That's so dope. And I will say I've listened to some songs from Bollywood movies, and they are like really good. And like the dance scenes are something phenomenal. Like it's really dope. Bollywood definitely knows how to make great movies. From the clip, I've never seen a full movie through and through, but from the like dance scenes and the music scenes and little clips I've seen, look like they'd be good movies.
One thing I love about Bollywood music is if you notice, if you go out with your friends and there's some Bollywood music happening, everyone knows the moves and they're always the same moves. So after 2-3 years of being here, you quickly learn, okay, this song's on, what's going to be the hit move, and everyone does it together.
Why people are so into Bollywood in general?
I think it's part of the life here. I mean, if you look at the major actors, there's like, I would say compared to the States, there are less big actors.
Okay.
There are less big ones, but they are featured in everything. You're going to have Shah Rukh Khan, and he's going to come out with 2-3 movies in a year, where in the States you might have one actor, and that one actor is going to come out with a movie every other year, for example. Everyone wants to go see the latest movie. It becomes quite the event, and I would say watching movies in the theater is more popular than at home.
I know that you speak Hindi. You would say your Hindi level is advanced or like?
I'd say intermediate. Yeah, intermediate. I can get by. I can defend myself when I'm on the streets.
What I heard is you can survive without Hindi living here. Because you can survive with just English.
In
Is it?
Mumbai, yes.
In Mumbai.
Yeah, in Mumbai, yes.
Yeah.
Because if you go around, people know enough. They might not be able to speak Hindi, but they can, or English, but they can understand it. They might reply back to you in Hindi, but they understand what you're saying. And somehow you can communicate with each other, even if it's just small gestures. You know, you might be familiar with the head wobble, then that helps you figure out what they're trying to say. I would say enough people speak English here that that's never been an issue.
Hand gestures. Often I see the taxi drivers, they do like, when someone not give you way, they're like,
Yeah.
this kind of thing, yeah.
There's another unique thing I learned here was how to go to the bathroom. Is go like this, and that signals you have to go to the loo. And then little different things is, count.
So you don't like say like, "Hey, I gotta go to the restroom." You like, or do you do the hand signal and like, "Hey, I gotta go to the restroom," or do you just do the hand signal and people know?
Counting here. So when you count, like if you were to count, how would you count?
I would count like,
Yeah. So here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is actually way more practical because you can count more that way.
Using one hand.
Yeah, using one hand.
palm. Wow.
Oh,
What?
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Areyar.
What's that?
Areyar. It's like, come on, bro. What are you doing? Areyar.
How your personality
I
shaped
love it.
because living for 10 years in India?
My perception of personal space has changed because here there are so many people. Here, the personal space is much less, and they're willing to share things a lot more frequently. So I remember the first time I went to a restaurant and I didn't know, the social norms or whatever. So I went and sat down. I was having dinner by myself, and then all of a sudden, a stranger came and sat down right in front of me and started eating. And so for me, that was weird because in the States, you would never do that, right?
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
this is a table, this is for you. Whereas in this
Yeah.
restaurant here, it was very much a communal feel. And it was, this table has space for 3. So we're going to have all 3 people sit there and eat together. For me, that was a different thing. And I like that
That's very
even if you go
different.
to a friend's house
So
or
like that's completely. That had to take me a little bit to adjust to. One thing about me is I don't like being around a ton of people, but maybe that's just me as in with an American mindset. But like I don't like when places are packed or when it's overcrowded or I just feel like I can't move the way I want because there's too many people and I don't know. It's like it builds some anxiousness in me, and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this. Like that's why I stay out of like big cities and big town because I just don't. I'm a guy who like is more reserved, more so keep to myself. I like being in the store and not too many people in the store. I go to the less popular store so I don't have to run into too many people. But and I'm like staying home, but I feel like India could open me up a little bit.
whatever, they're going to welcome you if you're going to stay the night. Okay, just stay on my bed. You're going to put someone everywhere. There's not this concept of, I don't have space to put people. You will make space to find people, to put people. And that I really enjoy about living here.
What would be your advice to someone who is thinking maybe to move, to try to live in Mumbai, in India? What would be your advice?
I would say you have to learn to be patient. Things here take time, whether it be when you're first stuck in traffic, because traffic is such a big part of your life here. If you're going to go different places, you're going to have to be prepared. Okay, there's going to be traffic. So you can't let that get to you. And then if you're going to be living here and you have a lot of paperwork that you need to do, there's a whole bunch of bureaucracy that you have to go through. So you have to go to person A to receive this paper, then go to person B to get it filled out, then go to person C to make a payment, just to go back to person A. So in your head, you think, couldn't we have just all done that at one spot? If you really harp on these small things, it's going to get to you. So you just have to be patient. And I think this is for a lot of places. You have to be open-minded and willing to see things from a different perspective because, sometimes we take for granted here people do speak English. So we think that because they speak English that we have the same mindsets. But then sometimes you realize that no, actually there are those cultural barriers. And so you have to take the time to see where the other person's coming from to see it from a different lens. But overall, I would think we just need to be ready to tackle the city, to tackle, the heat, the food, the culture, all of that.
Let me show you some magic. If you
I feel like that was a great video about like his experience in India and him kind of comparing cultures in the USA to cultures in India and how he adjusted to India and why he loves it so much more. I'm so glad he found a space where like he feels like he belongs, that feels safe to him, that he just absolutely loves. Like, that's so amazing. I love hearing these stories. But y'all talk to me in the comment section. Tell me what y'all think. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, get a video a thumbs up, check out the next one, and I'll see y'all next time.